Hello, thank you for tuning in to this week's section of reads. This should be on the YouTube channel James 13 Wicca, in case you're seeing it somewhere else on YouTube. If you're interested in what decks and dice I'm using, that's going to be below. Besides that, though, if you'd like a reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's also below, same information. Thank you very much for watching, and let's go ahead and get into your selection. Hello, Cancer. Thank you very much for tuning in to this week's read. These readings are valid for whenever you come to them. That being said, what do we have for Cancer? Something, quick motion. Quick motion. We like quick motion. Ironically, I think for this one, the reason we like quick motion is because it's going to move this energy on fairly quickly. It's going to move it on quickly. Well, whatever the overall energy is good. There's a disruption. There is a disruption. And the disruption will not last long. It's more about its after effect is what I think we're going for. Gotta get a little bit further into it first. You got the Ace of Cups at the end. You had the Ten of Cups and the Ace of Cups falling out of the deck. I just kept putting it back in. So it's like, no, we want that out there. So I guess I should have let it stay out. The situation overall, in a realistic tone, it's pretty good. In a realistic tone. Like, I feel like whatever this is, you've already accepted, like, perfection is not really a thing. It's like, most of it being pleasurable, and most of it is. There's good things here. Is everything perfect? No, but was it ever going to be? It's as good as it feels like it's kind of like, really, it's above average. Let's do that. It does better than most. I feel like whatever this situation is. Could be work, could be family, could be a relationship, other than that, could be a business thing for you. Wherever this is, normally it's pretty good. Normally it is pretty good, realistically. And I feel like they keep saying, you know what that means. For those of you this is going to hit with, you're like, yeah. Especially if you have a larger family, like, it's not always going to be perfect. That makes no sense. There's going to be issues here, issues there. But everybody overall getting along and helping each other out, that's what we're looking for, right? So, what is this? It's coming in quick, but, like, what exactly? Okay. It's not clicking on what it is. That's like, is it somebody saying something? Is it an actual physical something happening? There's healing from this. And then the Empress reversed on the dice. I think somebody's saying something. I think somebody's giving information, and not everybody wants to hear it. This may be hard for you to even hear when it comes forward. It is important to see it, though. It's hard. This information, it could be met with disbelief. I think it's truth, though. It could be met with disbelief, but I think it's the truth. And it's one of those things where people don't want to believe that that's what's actually happening, or that has happened, or something like that. It's difficult. But the energy that's happening, whatever's physically happening, it happens quickly. This is a subjective reading. It depends how it's hitting for you. So I could give examples, but I almost cringe at that. Because I feel like something happens, it's like, oh, we didn't want that to be the case. And then whatever is going to smooth that out or correct it, whatever's going to correct it, happens pretty fast. This is not a moment that I feel like I really like. I'm like, this situation is usually pretty good. That moment, I'm not a fan of. That seems to be upsetting the apple cart quite notably. At the same time, though, you're not about to allow this to destroy the overall situation. So if it's family, work, whatever you got going on here, this moment, you're not willing to let this destroy the overall situation, and you won't. At the same time, you are not at all happy with what's happening. And it's kind of like, I don't want this to be the truth, and it's hard. You don't want it to be the truth, and it's difficult. You were doing your best with it in the moment. I do feel like it's the truth. How is Cancer handling this energy, this information when it comes to them at first? You're not really sure. It's kind of like, I need some more proof. So whatever's being said, it's kind of like, I'm going to need some more proof on that. You might be saying that silently to yourself. It doesn't mean you're saying that outwardly. Sometimes, I don't know, right or wrong, people will tell me stuff and I'll be like, is that what's really happening? I won't verbalize it, and I'll just kind of go along with the situation, but then I'll try to research it on my own later. Kind of like they sound like they believe it, but do I believe it? So this might be one of those moments where it's like, okay, you're hearing information, things you don't want to hear, things that are like, I don't want that to be the truth. And I feel like I'm like, okay, I see what you're telling me, I understand. And then I feel like I'm stepping back and I'm like doing my own research, like, did that actually happen? Mostly because it's like, I don't want that to be the truth, but if it is, I feel like I gotta get in there and see, is it really the truth? It's hard. This is not a fun moment. This is also, again, I'm going to say this with this reading. This reading isn't making that happen. It's either there or it's not. So sometimes people get nervous, like, oh, I don't want to watch that. I don't want that to happen. It's either there or it's not. Watching this reading does not make it happen. Okay. You're not the only person that doesn't like this. There's a lot of anxiety here. This card is here in the environment. Oh, there's a lot of anxiety here. There's like a smattering of like people who don't want to believe it, people who have no choice but to not only believe it, but it's like they're living it. It's kind of like somebody running through their house and destroying everything on the walls. They have to come home to this house. They have to fix it. They have to clean it. There's nothing they can do other than just to, like, it's either they have to go live somewhere else, or they have to clean up the mess, or they have to live in this mess, and they don't want to live in the mess. So it's kind of like, there's people here that just have no choice. They just have to handle what they gotta handle. They're like pinned against the wall. There's nothing they can do, but they're just forced to deal with it. Like, there's no choice involved. It doesn't feel like there's a choice involved the way it feels to me. It's just thrust on them. There's a lot of people that are unhappy here. Is this going to be helpful? Okay. This is going on also around. People are not being helpful. And there are people who are just, they have to deal with it. It's just thrust upon them. And other people around this situation are making it 10 times worse for them. If this is happening, I don't know what you can do. I think it's subjective, but they're saying whoever this is, there's people who are just, it's just thrust upon them. And they just have to swim best they can in the moment. It's like being thrown in the deep water that's all up and down and all over the place. They just got to fight as best they can to survive, and they are struggling. Knowing that, if this reading is hitting, I don't know how that's going to affect. I think it depends on how you're relating to it. But could they use some help? Yes. But the thing is, it has to be honest help. If there's something you could do to kind of bring down the energy, that'd be great. It seems very elective, because I feel like it's a hard situation. There's some people that are just thrust in the middle of it. They just have to swim the best they can in the rough seas. They should be succeeding through it, but they are struggling. It's not going to stay forever. This should not last a long time, but there's a period here where people are really struggling. If you realize that that's not fair, I feel like that might be the only voice you need to have with it. If you're kind of like, all right, I know this, but I don't think it's fair to like, it's kind of like saying, yeah, her brother stole that, and because of that, they lost their house, but she didn't steal that. Her brother did that. She didn't know her brother was going to do that. And it's almost like pointing out the injustice. You can't, well, it's not fair to take it out on her just because that was her brother. She had no control over her brother. So it's almost kind of like saying, all right, or maybe somebody's partner or something like that. It's kind of like, that might be like the voice of reason you're allowed to lend to this, where it's not too painful. Kind of like, yeah, she's related, or yeah, she was connected, but she didn't know. And, you know, punishing her for something the other person did, not fair. And that might be the voice of reason you're able to bring forward, possibly. This, ironically, seems to all of a sudden, it's like the storm just calms down. And I'm like, it's not the eye of the storm. Because they show me like, almost like the eye of the storm, as if we're expecting this to be the eye of the storm, and then it just dissipates. So I don't know if that makes sense or not, but it's almost like at first it calms down really fast. And it's like, oh my God, is this the eye of the storm? I'm getting it just kind of dissipates, and that's that. There's emotional damage here after this. There's emotional damage here after this. You have the ability to step away and just let it be. It's up to you if you do that. I don't believe you're going to like the outcome if that's how you go. It's subjective. Take it with a grain of salt. Readings are for entertainment purposes only. I feel like there's long-lasting effects from this moment in just disconnecting and just going, I don't know what's going on there. I don't want to know what's going on there. That, I feel like that's going to have a balance later that I'm not really going to care for. And once it happens, it's kind of like once you put it in the crock pot, if you will, it's kind of like, I'm thinking of it as like a crock pot recipe. Once you realize the wrong things are in there, it's kind of like you have a better chance of correcting it before you cook it, if you follow me. A better chance. It's kind of like, oh, that was the wrong spice. Wait a minute. Before we ruin this big piece of meat or whatever it is, let's take it out, wash it off, and like, I don't know, like, you know, start over or try to fix it. It's kind of like, before we cook it, like if you cook it with all the wrong ingredients, it's going to have a flavor that you're like, oh, it's way too salty or way too this, way too that. Like it's unedible. We got to get rid of it. In the beginning, it has more possibilities for correction, if that makes sense. This doesn't have to be crazy movements forward. But I'm getting, if you decide to, I really feel like this is completely elective, but it's more about you getting an outcome that you're more happy with in the long run. Stepping in very carefully, and you know how you work. Because I feel like Cancer, they have very, very deep feelings. And they're very careful sometimes. I feel like they're very cautious and connected to like the people you care about. You're not looking to create damage. At the same time, you try to be constructive and help things go better. So it's kind of like, all right, you're going to go into this carefully, but it's kind of like trying to talk about things little by little, very carefully, where you, like when the door opens, it seems like, okay, they want to talk, going where we can go with that. Helping find resolution, helping maybe find the proper assistance to help them work out these problems or solve problems that they're incurring due to this situation. You might be a person that is able to mediate between people where one side is overly harsh and the other side just seems to be victimized. You might be a mediator between like, all right, let's calm this down. We don't need to be that bad. And you might be like a buffer for the person who feels very victimized by this situation. Be careful, be safe. Hopefully you have somebody else to talk about with this, so somebody else could be your sounding board, kind of like, okay, that sounds okay, or like, oh, that sounds a little dangerous. Maybe you want to be careful before you get too deep in that. Maybe you should talk with this person. You know, have a sounding board is a really good idea. I don't think you're going to solve the problem, but I feel like you can be a very positive influence and give it a better chance to heal in a more positive way. That's interesting. Because I'm not feeling, I feel like it's, okay, good point. So the death card's coming up, but it doesn't have to mean an ending. It can mean a beginning. I know that better than anybody else, I thought. But I apparently forgot it for a second because they just kind of highlighted it. Like, a new beginning could come in with this. And this could be a very good thing. This might be somebody who you've been on good terms with, but not great terms, if that makes sense. You might end up getting a lot closer with somebody that you were okay with before, but it's kind of like you're going to end up a lot closer than you originally were, or originally thought you would even want to be. You're making a very, if you choose this path, which is completely elective, nobody's saying you're a bad person if you don't. Like, it's up to you. There's no bad, like, it's not a bad thing if you don't. If you choose not to, that's your business. But if you choose to, there's a lot of value here. I feel like it can be one of those things where you're going to learn things that's hard to know. You're going to learn things that it's hard to know certain things. The truth is the truth, I agree. But sometimes it's just hard to see the truth with certain people. And if you keep getting closer, there's going to be some difficult truths that come in. You got the devil with the 9 of Wands with the divine guidance. It does feel painful to see the truth about certain things, but it also makes you stronger and it helps you align better with people who are more honorable to your loyalty. So, I don't know. I don't want to I don't want to overdo it with this, but it's kind of like if there's somebody in your life that you want to believe better, you might find out the truth and maybe they're not as good as you thought. But there's other people, the more you see the truth about the people you don't want to see, if that makes sense. Like, there's just certain people you're like, you don't want them to be rotten. You don't want them to have negative characteristics. And it's like the truth coming forward and the proof with the truth together. It's kind of like, I feel like I can't deny that, like, there's certain people that they're just not the best. And it's hard to see it. But also going through that process, you have other people coming into your life aligning stronger, more loyalty that, like, is actually serving you, like more truthful loyalty, more seeing people for who they actually are and feeling like confident, like they have your back and you have theirs. So there's a better quality of connections coming in. You might be diminishing some connections that, turns out they weren't as good as you were hoping they were. That might also be happening here, but they are who they are. You seeing it doesn't make them a good or bad person. You seeing it helps you decide how you're going to handle it more realistically. It's a process. It's a struggle. But also getting to the other side of that, you're going to be surprised at how much life gets better after this. Again, if there's people here that you're seeing better than they actually deserve, once you see it for what it is and you accept it, it's a process. It's a process if it happens. It's not only going to kind of diminish their connection in your life a little bit, but it's also going to bring you into this better grouping of people. Like your energy raises up. Like it's like you go up a few octaves, and like there's only so many people who can follow you there. I don't see anybody leaving your life, but you're going to notice you're going to have new people kind of gravitate towards you who are more connected with that new frequency. Does that make sense? It's a worthwhile endeavor. It does feel like it's challenging. Overall, though, I get if this is happening, again, the truth is the truth. You seeing it doesn't make it the truth. You seeing it just raises your energy and brings better things into your life. It is a process, though. I'm not going to pretend like it's easy. It feels a bit heavy. It does to get through it, but once you get to the other side, I feel if this reading plays out the way it seems, it'll be a lot better for you. All right. I'm going to shut this down here. Hope that helps. Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below. Same email. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day.